everyone, I am Captain Lakshmi Mohan and today we are going to talk about aviation. So I would want to ask you this question, what do you think is the most safest mode of transportation? What is transportation? Transportation is moving people or objects or payload, any payload, that is baggage, cargo, anything. When you're moving it from one place to another, that service is called as transportation or transportation industry. So which do you think is the safest mode of transportation in this modern world? Alright, you have guessed it right. It is the aviation industry which is the most safest mode of transportation in the transportation industry in itself, compared to railways, compared to roadways, or even compared to ships and waterways. Aviation, that is the airways, are the most safest mode of transportation in the transportation industry. And today we are going to talk about this aviation industry. Now, just an introduction to aviation. Aviation is basically divided in two sections. One is your military and the other one is your civil flying. So in military flying, it is mostly about defense and air force and doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers and everything. It's a really fun thing to do, and whichever country, like for example in India, you will have to go through the Indian Air Force examinations and all the selection procedures in order to get into Indian Air Force and fly the military jets. Whereas in civil aviation, it is a little bit more different than that. It is easier to get in. For example, in military flying or in Air Force flying, you need to have 6x6 vision and you have to be completely medically fit. But in case you are not medically fit, or in case you are not eligible for Indian Air Force or any military flying, we have other option, that is your civil aviation flying, which may not be as fun as military flying, but civil aviation has its own perks. And let's just talk about what civil aviation is all about. Alright. So civil aviation, the international body that represents the civil aviation is International Civil Aviation Organization. You all know what is United Nations, yeah? So it is a part of the United Nations, International Civil Aviation Organization, and they are the ones who creates the rules, the regulations, the standard operating procedures, everything. They don't just create the rules. What basically they are doing is they create a framework within which the countries, each and every country that is part of the International Civil Aviation Organization, will be having that framework which is created by ICAO. ICAO is what we call International Civil Aviation Organization, by the way. It's just the short form. So ICAO is what puts the frameworks, and within that framework, each and every country will have their own rules and regulations. So I get this question a lot, that if you have one country's license, can you fly in another country? Not really. If you have one country's license, what happens is you will have to convert that flying license into another country, and there are procedures. Each country, it will differ from one country to another. You'll have to convert the license, and only then with that country's, that is the new country's license, you will be able to fly the aircraft which is registered in the country that you have done your conversion in. Okay, like for example, if you have the flying license in United States, okay, which is under the control of FAA, and if you want to convert it to Indian license, and if only after you have the Indian license, which is your DGCA license, you can fly the aircraft which are registered in India. Okay, so this is basically how each and every country has their own rules and regulations, but ICAO is the international body that creates the framework for all these rules and regulations to be created. Now ICAO has 19 annexes. Annexes are basically these frameworks in which these are created. So these 19 annexes that is there, each annex will govern certain part of the aviation industry. Like for example, Annex 1 is personal licensing. Annex 1 personal licensing means in order to get the license of that particular country, what all other rules and regulations, what all other requirements will be given by the Annex 1. And most of the countries will follow this same as Annex, and each country will have its own differences as well. Okay, so we spoke about the international body. Now let's come to India, which is our country. In India, the civil aviation is controlled by MOCA, which is Ministry of Civil Aviation. Now, Ministry of Civil Aviation, under which operates a even more amount of organization. Like for example, we have DGCA, which is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Then we have Airport Authority of India. We have Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. We have Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. All these are basically different departments that comes under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and these departments for us, as in order to become pilots, the most important one that we will be focusing on is the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, which is DGCA. Okay, now under DGCA has set a certain rules. Okay, and in these rules, if we get all the requirements as per these rules, then you will be eligible to get your commercial pilot's license. And once you get your commercial pilot's license, you can fly in airlines or fly as an instructor or fly in corporate flying. Different types of flying can be done within the Indian airspace. Like I said, in order to get your commercial pilot's license through DGCA has their own procedures and own rules and regulations. So let me just give you a comparison of how it is. Now, for example, RTO, which is our Road Transportation Organization, what they do is they'll ask you for a medical certificate that you're medically fit, and then they will also ask you to put an 8 if you are in two-wheeler and a H if you are in four-wheeler. If you make those tests, if you pass those tests and if you pass the road test, then you will be given the license to drive in the country. But when it comes to flying, there is a little bit more procedure. Obviously, you are not driving or riding a bike or driving a car. You are flying an airplane. You will have to be going through a lot more tests compared to that of the road, that is two-wheeler or four-wheeler. So the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, some of the things that they have laid down is, first you have to do your medical. Your medical fitness is very important when it comes to flight training. It may not be as strict as the Indian Air Force, but it is quite strict as well. Okay, so you will have to maintain your medical. I will tell you why you have to maintain your medical in the coming chapters or in the coming modules of human performance and limitations, but as of now, just know you need to get your medicals done. Now, second thing you have to do is you have to clear some examinations. Certain subjects that DGCA is prescribed, these subjects, examinations you have to clear. Once you're cleared with these examinations, then you can do your flight training. Now, flight training has to be done for 200 hours. You have to complete 200 hours. Once you complete this 200 hours in a small Cessna aircraft, some hours will be, that is around 100 hours you'll be doing it with an instructor, and another 100 hours you will be doing pilot in command or solo flying. So once you complete this 200 hours, then you will be eligible to get your Directorate General of Civil Aviation license, and in between they'll be also having checks and tests conducted by examiners, and once they are satisfied with your flying skills, they will issue you your commercial pilot's license. And with that commercial pilot's license, you can apply in airlines, and airlines will put you through another set of series of tests through which you will become one of the pilots of that particular airline which flies in India. Alright, so I was talking about getting into airlines. So what is an airline? An airline is basically a transportation system or a transportation company, air transportation company, which transports payload, that is, it can be passengers or it can be mail and cargo. Okay, so now what happens in an airline is that they have bigger aircrafts, okay, like Airbus 320, Boeing 737s or Embraer, different types of aircrafts they can bring in, and they can do their own transportation. Now with airlines, the difference between a charter company and an airline company is that airline will have a scheduled departure times, that is, all the time it will take off at the same time. That is, today if there is a flight from Chennai to Delhi, for example, it will always, in an airline, it will always depart at that same time. Whereas in a charter company, it is not necessary that it is going to be departing at the same time. Okay, so this airlines is basically scheduled air transport operators. Now, in order to become a pilot in a scheduled air transport operator, that is an airline, you have to go through, each airline will have their own sets of elimination process through which they will be taking the pilots. So they will have their own set of standards, how they want their pilots to be. So first they will have a written examination. If you clear the written examination, they'll put you through a psychometry test and skill evaluation. Now the psychometry test is basically analyzing your personality. What kind of personality do you have? what kind of a person you are, what kind of personality do you have, are you a responsible person, are you a team player, do you have leadership qualities, do you have integrity. These are some of the things that they quantify when it comes to psychometry test. Then there is skill evaluation, which is basically your hand-eye coordination, your multitasking, how you can focus on different things at a given point of time. That is, these are different skills that will be tested in your skill evaluation. Then after that, don't be scared. We do have practices for all these things. You can practice, and everything can be learned. All these skills can be practiced and learned. Then we have group discussions or group activities. So in these group activities, you will have to not just be about yourself. How do you work with a team, and how you encourage your team members, and how you take initiative, all that will be judged in the group activity. And after the group activity, there will be a personal interview, and in the personal interview or the technical interview, they will ask you questions, to which there will be a panel of people who will be asking you questions, and once you answer their questions boldly, confidently, one-on-one, that's when they will decide to give you the letter of intent, which is, once you get the letter of intent is basically a document that is given to you, which you can go and apply in any of the banks, and then get the loan for something called as type rating. Now, what is type rating? Type rating is basically, like I was using the example of RTO. If you get your license to drive a car, you can drive any car. You can drive Hyundai, you can drive Honda, you can drive Maruti, any car you can drive. But once you get your commercial pilot's license, it's just that it's not necessary. You cannot fly you can only fly one particular aircraft in which you have done your type rating. For example, now the airline Indigo, okay, they operate an aircraft called Airbus A320, whereas another airline, which is your SpiceJet, they operate Boeing 737. Now, between both of them, if you are type rated in Airbus A320, you cannot fly Boeing 737. Both of them have completely different systems. Okay, so because there are two completely different systems, you have to go through the type rating of one aircraft, then you have to do another type rating for the other aircraft. So there is a difference between them, and this type rating is like a 1.5 month course where you will be taught about this particular aircraft, the systems of the aircraft, and you'll have ground classes which describes the systems of the aircraft. You will be put in a simulator, and that simulator you will be performing different maneuvers, procedures, how things are done in that particular cockpit, which is not going to be the same as the cockpit of a Boeing 737. So this differences is called as the type rating. So it will be different from one aircraft to another. So if you're type rated, like I said, if you're type rated in a Boeing 737, you cannot fly an Airbus A320. So the airline will give you a letter of intent where you can go and get your type rating done. Once you get your type rating done, and then you will be inducted by the airline. The airline will conduct their own training as well. And once they conduct their own training, and then they go through their own procedures, and then you will be released as a first officer in an airline. After becoming first officer, that's not the end of it, just your first step getting into an airline. After you become a first officer or a junior first officer in an airline, then you go on to gain more hours, become a first officer, then you gain more hours, even more hours. Then each airline has their own specific requirements of how much hours you need in order to become a first officer, senior first officer, and then eventually you become the captain of an airline or captain of an aircraft. Now, being the captain is your ultimate goal. Why? Because being a captain means that you will be in control of all the people that is there in the aircraft. That is the cabin crew, the first officer, the passengers. The captain is basically the person who is responsible for the safety of the airline or the safety of the aircraft. Safely transporting the people, the payload, everything from one place to another. Entire thing lies on the shoulders of a captain. So this is what you all have to aspire to become, and this is how in order to become a captain is what I just described. First get your medicals, then get your commercial pilot's license, then get your type rating, get into an airlines, build your hours, and eventually you will become a captain soon. Alright, so I spoke to you about what an airline is. So let me give you a comparison of what an airline is. Okay, now if you want to go from one place to another, let's say you want to go from Chennai to Salem or Chennai to Madurai. Okay, what will you do? You will book a bus. Yes, you have you go to any of the apps that give you the booking for these buses. You will go to this app and you will look for different buses. You have different companies which will be with different amenities and with different timings, convenient timings in which you will be going. But these buses every day, for example, in one company, if you say, it will always, the bus will go exactly at the same time and it will reach your destination exactly at the same time. So in the airline is also something similar to that. Just like booking the buses, you also have apps that will help you book for your airlines as well, for air travel as well. So for example, if you go for a flight from Chennai to Delhi, okay, every day the same time there will be a aircraft departing from Chennai to Delhi, that is for that particular airline. So you can book for it, and when you book for it, those seats will be filled up just like you, everybody else will be booking, and then those seats will be filled up, and at that time, regardless of how much passengers are there or not, the aircraft will still take off. So this is the comparison between our normal bus transportation and what it is there in airlines.